Hey guys,
Hello.
we're back
I
for the
got the
burning
book.
wheels.
I have the book now.
Oh, it's so
Finally.
shiny.
It's very shiny. It is awesome. I sort of read the whole thing. And by the whole thing, I mean I skipped over the stats and the skills because I know what those are. I read over the parts that I didn't know or weren't obvious. Such as fight. And weapons and armor
Lots
and
of
shields and things.
lots of reading fight going on last week, I think.
Yeah, honestly, I would still do it wrong, I think. But that's okay.
There are many interconnecting rules here that
Yes, it's like a series of cogs that all wind together.
It's like pseudocode for some kind of program. Jeez. Anyway,
So, yeah.
we might be quiet for a while because we're still doing session prep, I think.
I think I'm ready. I'm just going to put in what I got. So
Okay.
we did a skip.
I'm good.
So we did a 6 months later thing, and now we're doing the practice for the 6 months later. So if I'll go last when it comes to character reintroduction and bits. If you guys
All right.
want to go,
I'm just rewriting my my beliefs right now. I had a bunch of like beliefs I think everyone would have, but I decided I would be like really straightforward with my beliefs this session. So I'm just rewriting them right now. I can tell you what I did for training. If I can find that. So I had to redo my training because last time I realized I thought weeks equaled months, and clearly that's a big difference.
Yeah.
So I redid all of it. Just waiting for it to load.
I might as well.
okay, Seth, do you want to go while since it's not loading yet for Golden?
Yeah, sure. I can go. I was just starting to try and figure out where I wanted bookmarks to help with the fight stuff.
I have so many little tabs, like little colored tabs on pages right now.
So for the practice, I went kind of basic because we had 6 months. So I was like, hey, and Zen was like, focus on military stuff because you're in the middle of a war doing army stuff. So the military cycle for military skills was 6 months. So I picked up a routine test in strategy and tactics. But I also picked up a routine test for stealthy and observation, because Matrim's kind of like the sneaky, scouty type. And as I don't actually have either of those skills, picking up one test for those seems good. That left 2 hours for the entire 6 months. So I picked up 2 routine tests in sword and knife, which I already have. So I just picked up 2 routine because I haven't really used them yet. And the last 2 months with 2 hours, I picked up 2 routine tests in command.
Sounds good.
Cool. And I don't know if we want to do bids yet.
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay. Let's make it sure. Yep. I had to make sure I marked the right pips on the sheet when I was doing that. So I changed the 2 beliefs that got persona for me last time because they were complete. The first one is the same still, though. The winds and currents of life have brought me many opportunities. Limiting the natural flow of either is a detriment to me and mine. I will remove these limits where I find them. Still sort of just the vaguely Fate Factory one. I don't know how that completes. The second one,
it's the ideological belief that you can insert into most situations when you find the way to spin them.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. My second one I changed because that was the one where I was trying to make Ernest more chaotic. And so that one kind of felt complete. So I changed it to Ernest thinks highly of Lord Edwayne, but all I see is a stuffy noble. I will engage him to see if there is anything beneath the surface. So I just I think this is like the first time outside of like the cabin all the way at the beginning, Lord Edwayne and I have been in the same scenes together. So I just kind of want to have a conversation.
Sure.
And my last belief is, with the issues with Bryansk wrapping up, I should renew contact with the organization and see where we stand. It's written more like a goal right now. I don't know what the belief angle with that is. Probably needs some re-editing.
Say it again?
With the issues with Bryansk wrapping up, I should renew contact with the organization and see where we stand.
I think that's enough of a belief.
Um,
It's not entirely
look.
it's not entirely clear that the issues of Bryansk will clear up, especially if Ernest loses the duel.
So why is Matron intent on, why does Matron want to do that when the issues are wrapping up? Because he has plenty of loot from the war.
Well, you could tie it back into that whole finding the organization treasuries thing too.
Yeah, I think I'll do that. Like, I need to make sure I'm still good with them, with this being because Matron thinks his contract is almost up and he wants to keep the contract.
Yeah,
you want to
renew
You want to go back into renegotiations. I understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll rephrase that a little bit to have a bit more motivation. And my instincts and traits are the same.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know if we want to say those are
cool.
So I redid all my downtime, so I took 8 months total. We had gotten 3 months earlier, I believe, but I did not take all of that because my character just started his scenes a little bit earlier than you guys did, so he had less downtime. So I took Persuade for 5 months. That gave him a point of Persuade. He learned Persuade. Took Oratory for 2 months. And then I took another difficult test at the end. So I raised his Oratory up. Took a routine falsehood test so I could raise falsehood. I took some animal husbandry because Edwin has this yak called Grinda. And, I like her to, just be there, like his animal companion. But I think she still needs some... He should still be able to take care of her in case something bad happens.
Yeah, we need to remember about the yak and make her a more central figure, I think.
Right.
Because there's tons of stuff you can do with a yak.
There's tons of, humor stuff and, put her in peril and I have to save the yak. There's all kinds of, beliefs we could investigate, that kind of thing. I took dance because Edwin has been traveling the countryside trying to encourage people to eat these foods. And I think there's a little mini festival every time he passes through a village. So maybe he has to do some folk dancing.
It's like the first night there, you always hold a feast to try to entice people to your side, and
right.
That makes sense.
I took some haggling because Edwin bought a lot of stuff. So he's been haggling for a while. I took obscure history. Edwin was working for the organization to determine how artifacts worked and where to find new artifacts. And I figured Edwin always has a book in his hand. So I did that. I took some writing because we've been traveling across the plains. There's plenty of opportunity for writing. And then
just a point really quick. Always have a book in your hand definitely sounds like an instinct.
It does.
Just putting that
Very
out
much
there.
does.
See, I don't have enough slots for all my beliefs and instincts, so I had to like.
Well, yeah, just whichever ones are important. You think would be
Right.
important this session?
Yeah, just keep that in the back of your head for like, well, I really want to change this instinct to something just quirky about
Yeah.
Edwin.
Sure, if
There
I
you
guess
get
go.
that's sort of
bored
what
with one of my
traits are for,
instincts,
in
it's
a-
definitely on the list.
In a semi-related way, that's what traits are for, because there's no limit for those.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. You could angle for the bookworm or something trait with that.
Which you would probably like. That's a good.
It's an
That's a die
amazing
trait.
trait.
Yeah.
It makes just makes you learn skills faster too. That's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying not to power game too hard. And then I trained scavenging. I think Edwin has been like trying to help the villages rebuild. It's like it's not just like food, but it's also like here's what this city has we can buy. It's not exactly what they need, but we can make it work. So there's scavenging for you. And then obscure scavenging is the skill that Edwin uses to recover like artifacts and go exploring in temples and do archaeology. It's not something that he can do actively here, but I think it's something like he can set up like tests and like practice disarming traps and stuff.
Well, that could always also be a reading thing, like you're reading biographies of other archaeologists and how they did these things. You know,
like there's not any active opportunities to use this skill, I think, but there's definitely time for him to research it. Okay, so I'll go on to my bits. Okay, belief number 1. Ernest's actions has embarrassed Edwin. He must provide a remedy to Valerie. Alright. Instinct number 2. An ancient evil has followed me from Etmanaki. I must confront it and find out what it wants. Belief number 3. My cousin, Duchess Natalia Otova, has proven herself a poor ruler. I should convince her to accept banishment. Alright.
now, would that be banishment from the island?
Yes.
Okay, just so we're clear, like not just like off in this jungle to the southeast here. That's not considered banishment. Okay.
I have a specific place in mind. I have that other contact, Isabel.
I'm sure a lot of people would like to tell you where to go.
Right. Well, Edwin's going
to
try. So
there are those mountains that stick up to the south of the island. You could just stick around one of those and be like, "Yep,
yeah, exactly.
Stay here."
I'm going to send her to like a monastery or some other far place where
Elba or something.
She can learn, and we'll see like how that goes. Like that may not be possible. But I'm going to try. Okay. My instincts are the same as last time. Ask the story behind any ancient item I see. Always find a use for a good man and surrounded by darkness, light a fire. Traits are your lordship, superstitious, know-it-all, stubborn, impetuous, prestige seeker, aloof, and a mark of privilege.
Sounds good.
Okay. So, Ernest. I am playing as Ernest. So, my beliefs are, Matrim has reminded me that many people here still believe that those from the continent are unrefined and brutish. Now, with everyone watching two of us fight, I will show them that honor is not foreign to our people. Oh, that's not it. By leaving Jefferson Marwick alive.
So, that's to show everyone or to show Matrim?
So this is actually to show, like, just generally everyone.
Okay.
Matrim is sort of what spurred him to this, by reminding him.
Yeah. I just wanted to see what the distinction there was.
Yeah, it's a bit long, but I think that's just because I added some exposition about the situation.
Right.
My second belief is I wanted to leave my past on the continent behind. To do that, I need to feel welcomed for who I am by the people of the Path Askew, for being myself rather than for being Lord Edwin's representative. Belief 3. I am still a good person, and, according to local tradition, a champion's duel will settle this war peacefully and without further bloodshed. So I will fight and win with a clear conscience.
Has that been agreed upon yet, or are you sort of like...
That's what I was told.
Injecting some stuff there. I'm fine with. I was just curious.
Yeah. Well, I remember when Golden made the roll, I think, last session, to see if that would work. It worked, I think.
Okay.
And the duel's going to happen, right?
The duel is happening. I think we might open with that.
Yeah.
Though I think I might want to have a flashback before we open with that.
Yeah, that's fine. We can flashback and take care of anything that people think needs to be taken care of before we see the fight.
All right. I do
my
have
fourth
that scene I want to do with Ernest.
Okay, so we'll probably do two scenes then.
Okay.
We'll start with yours because, yeah, we'll see how it happens. But my fourth belief is, I am a weapon to be used. When following orders, my actions are not my own, but rather of my master, Lord Edwin. So I'm leaving it now. That's just the general belief. My instincts are, when angered, use force, always maintain my arms and armor, and never get enough sleep, which I considered changing one to be fight-related, such as always start in a certain stance or something, which you can do, but I decided not to. The sleep thing we already talked about last session. I did succeed my roll, so I am doing okay. I am loyal. My traits are loyal to Lord Edwin Wilson, which is Golden's character. Imperious and close-minded, those two of which are cultural traits. I am vindictive and stoic. I am a light sleeper. I am stubborn. I am broken. I am sickly. And I do back-breaking labor.
Now, one thing I want to highlight a little bit. Your belief about leaving Jefferson Marwick alive.
Yes.
How does Ernest feel about the fact that this war is even a thing? Like, does it piss him off that he has to do this?
So I actually wanted to talk to you guys about that. I feel that if he does this, it might be deeds-worthy, because I don't think he has anything personal to gain out of it. What personal gain would does Ernest have from doing this?
He has bait for the guy's brother. Find information about where the brother is.
I have a relationship with the brother and still keep in contact with him. I know exactly how to find him. It's just been a matter of time.
My issue with that is, like, it's your explicit belief. So, like...
I was reading the chapter. I don't think the fact... Having a belief does not prevent it from being a deed. The whole deeds thing is not about a specific belief. It's just about doing something that is both world-impacting and without any personal gain. That's to a large enough scale. Because persona is technically tied to goals, it would be, instead of receiving a persona, you would get a deed for accomplishing the belief. If it was fulfilled all the other requirements.
So the way I was reading it, it's like, what happens to the world by leaving this guy alive?
Not by leaving him alive, sorry, not that one. But in terms of the deeds I was talking about, just the fight and winning it. That one. Bringing a peaceful resolution to the war by fighting and winning.
Yeah, so winning the war would end all conflict with Bryant's.
Yes.
How would that change Ernest's, like,
I would say there's
wars
potential
and stuff
for a deed, but it's not, like, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm actually very curious as to why not.
I think it sort of depends on how it plays out.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll definitely know by the end of as long as we finish the fight and some stuff after it.
Mm-hmm.
By the end of the session, we'll definitely know. but
Yeah.
there is potential there. I will say that. And we
Okay.
did agree, that deeds will be awarded by simple majority.
Right.
So if you feel that you want to nominate yourself for a deeds at the end, we just vote on it. You make your case, we vote on it, and
Okay. Here's a question for the voting part.
Okay.
Does the nominating person get a vote, or is it simple majority of the other three?
I think it should not be the nominating person, because then it just breaks it down to 3 people voting, which means a majority is easy to get.
Mathematically,
Yeah.
it's exactly the same. The majority will only occur if one person votes against it. If 2 people vote against it, it's not a majority.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
mathematically, it's the same, regardless of whether or not Ernest gets a vote.
So I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah, just by nominating yourself, you're already saying it's a vote. So
yeah, that's true. Sorry.
I would say that I would want Ernest's views to change, like not just about this war, but in war in general. And then I would say
I
it's
think,
worthy.
Yeah, it's the whole thing about a deed that hasn't yet happened is that Ernest has to in some way sacrifice something. And he hasn't done any of this for personal gain, I believe, but he hasn't sacrificed anything yet either.
Yeah, it hasn't hurt Ernest at all to do this yet. I mean, it might. You might lose an arm. You don't know. But
So it very much depends how it'll play out. Okay.
Yeah. But the thing I was getting to with the leaving Marwick alive and how Ernest feels about this war,
yes.
How does that clash with your vindictive trait?
So I thought about this a lot. However, Marwick, this is Jefferson Marwick, not his brother. If it was his brother, I'd totally kill him. But I want to prove to both everyone who's watching, and in a way myself, he wants to prove to himself that he's better than him. He wants to prove to others that not all Continentals are brutes.
Okay, so the fact that these people invaded and killed some people in what you're considering now your hometown doesn't trigger you to be a vindictive asshole and kill as many Bryansk people as you can.
Jefferson seems to identify first and foremost as a Continental. So, not this guy.
All right.
Not to mention
once you get inside the city proper,
then he's frosting the
start. All right.
Okay, so I think let's open with your and I flashback, Lord Edwin.
All right,
if that's good for everyone.
So at some point,
wavy lines.
Yeah. All right. So at some point, Edwin gets to the island. I think it's probably only a couple of months before the final climactic scene at Bryansk.
You're probably getting a debriefing from someone,
right? And Edwin has sent a messenger to get Ernest to return to the Path Askew. I assume Ernest has been off fighting the war, and so
I take some leave. And then, I come and join you for a short while.
So,
but
I have a question for Zen Trophy. So, before you started your turn as GM, you asked me if there was anything I had retrieved from my previous expedition.
Yep.
And I said there was one object, and that object was in my house. Is that something that Matron removed and sold?
Describe the object?
It was
and its composition. What is it made out of?
It was a stone
Does it look
tablet.
valuable and shiny?
It was one of the stone fragments that he chipped from the excavation near Skav.
Okay.
And on it was a variety of astrological symbols and formula.
Matron, is that something that would have piqued your interest?
Yeah. It may be an art. You may have thought it was art, or I don't know. It would have been covered in cloth and
I remember
cloth and stuff.
Matrim doesn't have like any sort of appraisal skill.
Right, exactly. Like he doesn't
So I
know.
was saying, like, I grabbed shiny stuff, and a piece of rock doesn't sound shiny,
Okay.
so it's probably still there.
Okay.
Unless, like, there was just, like, massive amounts of arrows everywhere saying, steal me, steal me, I am valuable.
Neon signs pointing.
Right.
Hopefully
I don't think there were.
Okay, fine. So it's still there. Good.
Okay.
I mean, if you really want, we can do a Die of Fate, right? Like,
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
but it's so unlikely.
It seems
be just
unlikely. Yeah. Like it would have been.
It seems very unlikely.
Yeah, if we did a Die of Fate, it would be like on a 1, he stole it. Like,
right, exactly.
But if you're saying you don't think you did, then let's just go with that.
Yeah, no. So
Yeah.
I still have
It's
that.
meant to be argument
Right.
resolving.
If it was like a gold encrusted thing with all these like
Yeah, it's like
gems covered in like artistry
Right,
stuff,
no.
yeah, I would have totally taken it. But
It would be like on a bookshelf.
No.
A rock with a pile of books. Okay. All right.
no interest.
So Edwin is like waiting for Ernest in his house, and I guess Ernest walks in, and Edwin just like gives him the silent treatment for a moment.
What did you say much in my letter, or just said, "Come home, we need to talk"? Basically,
It was just basically that. Yeah.
Okay. So I think I have entered your house. I haven't been back in a number of months. What does the house look like now that you're home, compared to how it was?
Like it's probably better cleaned up and dusted.
But it's still kind of bare. No, there's like no paintings or anything on the wall or anything.
Yeah, Edwin has not went and recovered his wealth that was stolen.
Okay.
So there's still like outlines of where the painting was on the wall.
Basically, yeah.
Right.
Not technically because it was all dusted, but yeah.
Yeah, like Edwin,
wasn't it like a temporary command center for Ernest for a while?
Yes, but I think that actually it was temporary command center for Ernest for like a couple days before the people from wherever his hometown was.
Before the mercenaries showed up. I don't know if anybody ever came from Palioborat.
Yeah.
No, they did. They did,
Okay.
but it was just glossed over. Like, they came and secured the city, and they were securing, like, behind the army as you guys pushed forward.
Exactly.
They were never involved in actual fighting, but they were, in effect, a rear guard.
And basically, as soon as they came, I left. In terms of, not literally the day of, but shortly after they arrived, because they're like the official people from the country.
Okay.
We left to attack.
That's how I remember it.
I think Ernest probably like,
which means they may have used this as their command center afterwards, so it may be like a very different.
They probably would have used the council chambers.
Okay.
More than.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I think Ernest, arrives and walks in. Are you like sitting in a large armchair staring at the fire or something?
he's probably like stood up and like is pacing, or like just standing there and watching Ernest, like making him feel uncomfortable.
Okay.
Like he probably
So I
was
think-
sitting in a chair, so he's like standing next to the chair, but once like he heard the door opening, he stood up.
Okay. So I think that Ernest is Lord Edwine.
Ernest, I'm glad you finally arrived.
War takes its toll, especially on the animals.
It does. Ernest, do you remember what my instructions to you were when you asked leave to come and retake the Mathsquad?
To protect your brother. Or your cousin, sorry. To protect
Your
cousin.
relation, your kin.
Right.
To ensure that he was all right,
That's right.
which I did.
Remember I gave you specific instructions on how you were to do that?
Sir, did you receive my letter that I sent you regarding his actions?
I did. Ernest, let me explain something to you. The fates of nobles are not always rising. At the moment, I may be lucky to be standing here and free, I may be lucky to have many powerful allies that will come to my defense. But that's not always going to be the case. At some point, my luck is going to run out, as it does for everybody. And when that happens, I'm going to be treated in a way like consummate to how people see me. As a leader and as a host. I instructed you to keep Valerie out of jail. Instead, I return and I find him under house arrest, and that you publicly humiliated him in front of the people of the town. He no longer will be able to serve in his previous role here. You have created a weakness in him that the people will capitalize upon, and he won't be able to rule effectively. Because of that, I'm going to have to find some remedy for Valerie that will be very costly to me.
Sir, I did not create a weakness in Valerie that wasn't already there. I did what I did because I did not believe he was fit to serve. From what I heard, he was embezzling your money and stealing from you. I publicly humiliated him in order to confirm what the people already knew. They did not like that man.
What if I were to tell you that Valerie was taking that money under my orders?
I think Ernest goes silent for a bit, so it's up to you if you want to wait or keep talking.
He'll say something.
No, I think he goes silent.
As a ruler, Valerie provides me with many services, besides those known to the people of the Path Askew. And also, he provides Pyobort with those services. And by incarcerating him, you prevented him from providing those services to me in the city. And also, by bringing the charges to light, you have made it so that I cannot simply ignore them, because putting him back in that position will make people watch his actions more closely. When it comes to the political situation in this island, Ernest, the nobles practice a system of reciprocity. If I treated Valerie well when I was captured and made a hostage, I would be treated well. If I give Valerie certain leeways to pursue his own agendas and his own advancement, then I would as well. Now I can expect to be treated a little more than a common servant.
Sir, what kind of tasks do you use that money for that you do not want prying eyes seeing?
I'm not going to answer that. That's none of your business.
You don't have to, but I see you as a discerning but upright and righteous individual.
Yes.
Am I right?
I think I am.
May I ask what became of Valerie after I left, when he was given charge by Polyo? Saying that in a Russian accent is so difficult. Polyoborat. There we go.
Saying it in a Russian accent and a Southern accent is harder.
Yes.
Polyoborat.
Do you want to make like a test to see if Edwin is lying there? Or something?
Considering that I don't think I could make any tests, I have Command and Intimidate, both of which are not applicable to our social situations.
Right. But Edwin is using falsehood when he answers about Valerie's actions.
Do I use Perception, or what would I use?
It depends on how you want to look at it. It like in the strictest sense, a lie is hiding something. So observation sort of works here because it's a hidden thing.
Yeah.
But observation is for picking up what that hidden thing is it not?
Yeah, it's for finding the hidden thing.
Okay.
So
from what I've seen in some of the forums, a lot of the times it's falsehood versus falsehood.
You can do that as well. You can. It would probably be a higher ob, but you could probably use perception to gauge a reaction,
right?
Like just to read body language or something.
I'm still learning it, but I'll take the test.
Okay.
I guess if we're still kind of curious, we could delve down into figure out what Ernest's true intent here is, like trying to figure out.
Yeah,
my intent is simply to know if he is lying when he says that.
Okay.
Because he is, he's not.
Right.
Yeah, he is trying to figure out Edwin's character.
Right. Or this could be you could be opening a wise here, like nobility wise or something like that, to see if like this is just boss level BS, or if this is like no, like he's actually like totally pulling the sheets over your eyes or something.
Okay.
Yeah, and you do have that loyalty trait, so Edwin wise might be a thing. Like you are knowledgeable in how Edwin works.
I am, which is why I'm actually quite surprised he is doing this.
Right.
Okay, so I think I'll stick with observation. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that'll clue you in on
what exactly.
Yeah, he's not being truthful, but it won't clue you in on what the truth is.
Okay.
Yes,
yeah,
that's what
you might observe a tell.
Yeah, exactly. That he doesn't realize he has, but I realize he does after being with him. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the ob should be his will, I would assume, with this.
Oh, not a versus roll? Okay.
Well, it could be a versus roll. We could do it that way.
My will is
you
3.
Roll first. Okay.
I'd like to fork in persuade and rhetoric for this.
Okay.
Okay. Falsehood.
Oh, so I need one success.
Wow. He's like stuttering and twitching and his eyes going and like
Yeah, Edwin definitely knows what he is. What
let's find out if he
doing
does.
is wrong.
So base obstacle 1. Okay, yeah.
It's base up 2 actually, since you're.
Well, yeah, I put in
you
the
gotta
one
double the
on
odds, but yeah.
I doubled for him. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
So
yeah, I can tell that he is lying, and this.
You want to fade it?
I don't think that'll give me the intent is just to know if he is.
Can you put fate into a?
It would go into the stat.
Oh, okay,
it would
that's
go
right.
The stat, which would be perception, which I don't care to do any fate for, so no.
So are you taking the success on? Oh, it's a routine test. Never mind.
It's a routine test. Yeah, I'm just learning observation more. Okay.
Yeah, so Edwin is like definitely he knows that what Barry has been doing with the money is wrong, and he knows that Valerie wasn't using the money for that anyhow, probably.
So I can tell that you're just sort of talking out of your ass for some reason. Okay.
Call him on his bullshit.
Now this is the interesting part. If I can tell that, and I can tell that you aren't actually using the money for dark deeds, and that what I did was right, then I don't think I care that much. And in addition, I think he's still used to be quiet and shut up. He's still broken.
And stoic, so you could just kind of sit there like, cross your arms, stern faced, like, yeah, you're fucking lying, but whatever.
Yeah, we both. Yeah, I think that's what he does. It's there's a bit of he's still wearing his armor because he just came from war. And it's like he came here right as soon as he arrived in town. So there's a bit of a glint from the eyes under his helmet.
Okay, so
Actually, he probably took his helmet off. It's like
so Ernest is like,
but I don't say
not
anything.
taking Edwin's bullshit. He basically like shuts
yeah,
down.
Is the expression on his face? He's not, but he's letting you just sort of talk.
Okay.
Convince yourself that you convinced him. Almost. He's not. Yeah.
Is it an I know that you know that I know that you know situation, or is he just?
I think that's
sort of
what
just
it might
letting
be.
it pass. Okay.
Unless, yeah, I think that's what it is, and then Lord Edwin can act to change that if he wishes.
I think like what Edwin would do next depends on like how he sees Ernest reacting. Like, so if Ernest is like not looking like abashed or anything, and like is just looking stubborn, like he's got his jaw set and like he's got his glazed look in his eyes, like he's not paying attention anymore.
I think I think he's looking at it. It's sort of the opposite of that.
Okay.
He is more relaxed. He was for a second, but now he's more relaxed once he realizes actually that you aren't what he would consider to be a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that he is more relaxed, but he is looking at you with curiosity as to why you are sort of lying to put Lord Valerie's mistakes on yourself.
All right. Well, someone asked about like what Edwin did with Valerie once he got in Path Askew.
I did ask you what happened to him.
That would depend on what state he was in when he got there. Like,
that's up to
the organization said that they were going to do something about Valerie, and Ernest apparently was not there watching over him for very long.
Yeah. What happened during the time period between me being gone and Edwin arriving?
He was the organization didn't really enter into it. He was treated fairly by Oleg, the captain of the guard, because Oleg didn't know what was going to happen when Edwin got back. So you don't piss off a potential boss.
Okay.
So, but he was kept away from the public for his own safety because the public was not pleased with him. But he wasn't allowed freedom of movement. Like he was basically like it was basically kept in his house and
Edwin would
he watched a lot of Netflix and
yeah.
Edwin would definitely have released Valerie from house arrest. The question then is like, he would try and make it up to Valerie. I think we should do that in another scene, though, because it's about what does Valerie want, since he was the one that was under house arrest, and then we'll decide like what he actually gets. Some possibilities. Edwin could return the smuggling organization property to him. He could pay for him to leave Path Askew. Him and his wife.
All right, so your intentions with Valerie are going to be like placating him for any slight that he is perceiving from this,
right? And it'll be like a public form of placation, like so other nobles can see that Edwin dealt with that.
Okay.
Would it be public or would it be private?
It will definitely be public. This is all about, to Edwin, this is all about how other nobles see him.
Yes.
Public in the sense...
Public means about the common folk. See how the common folk see you.
Yeah, like public to everyone or public to like the noble circles.
Yeah. Is this just in your court that you do that where only like certain...
I don't think there's like any like big hubbub about it. Like Edwin just shows up. Edwin's big push would be like he brought all this food and he gets to Path Askew and everything's disorganized. He would just try and like get everything reorganized, and I don't think Valerie would want to be Edward's steward anymore. So if that's what he wants, that would be very complicated. But probably it would be like getting the new steward from Borat, like entrenched and making sure that people accept him, and then like trying to like brush Valerie under the rug as much as possible.
Right. So on I assume this noble culture is island wide, like this form of reciprocity, as you said. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it may not even be like Edwin's like understanding could be wrong if you want to make it into a wise check, but that's how I'm seeing it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm just saying, I'm just seeing like as far as the common man is concerned, a noble might get a slap on the wrist, but like after that, them just going back and doing whatever the hell they want is probably par for the course.
Yep.
Like, so the peasants wouldn't necessarily be. They just be like, oh, it's a noble. Of course, he's out in 2 days on good behavior.
This is more like it's more like 4 months, but yeah.
Yeah. So
Edwin does not drop everything and get to Polyabora. I mean, it doesn't get to the path of skew. Like,
but to them, it's still like, he gets to live in he's stuck in his rich, wealthy manor. That's as big as a single room is as big as my house. Oh,
yeah. So it's sort of akin to how like our general public views like a celebrity that gets arrested. Of course, they don't have to go to prison. They're going to be out in 2 weeks. Exactly. No big deal.
I'm not trying to set up a perfect egalitarian society here. There are flaws.
No, I was just trying to gauge like the common man's reaction to what you're doing, and it seems like it would just be another day.
Yeah, par for course for that.
Right. Okay, so yeah, that's what Edwin does. So he like notices Ernest like just being curious, and Edwin like appreciates curiosity. Like, Ernest can probably see like Edwin like waffling a little bit. Like he clearly had something planned, but now like judged on Ernest's reaction, he's not sure what he should do.
I think Ernest just says, "Sir, is there anything else? I'm kind of needed back at the war front."
Let's just go with it. So Edwin nods. He says, "Ernest, you've been a loyal servant for many years. But I'm going to have to rethink that. It would be unwise of me to release you from my service during a war. But if I'm not satisfied with your performance, I will have to release you."
Performance review. That's what this
I was just thinking that quarterly performance review is coming up.
All right. I think that there's like a thick silence in the air. And then Edwin just nods once and says, "Yes, sir."
Right. Dismissed.
Will that be all? He turns around and walks out.
Okay.
So the flashback I was going to have, I think,
those TPS reports.
So I think I was going to have a separate flashback, but I think let's just follow Ernest as he walks down the path askew. He is walking, and he looks around and he sees barrels and crates of food being given out that just arrived with Lord Edwin. People are looking much more happy and safer than they were last time he was there. I think that we see him. How does this look? I think he exits Lord Edwin's manor. What's going on? Oh, there's construction going on in my house. Okay. So we see him walk outside Lord Edwin's manor, just sort of stop at the doorway, looking out onto this scene. He is just sort of stuck in thought for a sec, but then he has not so much a smile, but sort of his face changes to almost lighthearted. He seems much less bothered by the news of possible performance review than he thought he would be. he walks down like the main street that leads to the exit, but then he takes a turn off toward down like a side road. We see a small montage. What does he do? He probably like leaves his armor somewhere where like maybe it's back in the Red Rose Manor or something. But he like removes his armor. We see him like getting a haircut. We then see him pay for a bouquet of roses. By the way, should I make a resources check for those roses?
Yeah.
Okay,
One.
I want those tests.
Yeah, pretty much. Well. I mean, what is your intent for the roses? I mean, is it something that's
romantic?
Ooh.
Then yes, you probably should do the resources roll because it has the ability to impact the story in a significant way.
Yes.
It's like haircut, sure. Haircut and roses? No, you gotta check it out.
I got 2 for 2, so I'm good. I get the nicest roses and the nicest haircut. Teen tests.
Yeah, you probably stop for some lunch with that too.
Okay. Yeah, I probably pick up they probably don't have chocolates, but probably some like
stuff. Basket and some wine. You can go to a picnic.
Edwin like calls up Ernest, gives Ernest his dressing down, hands him his paycheck.
And then we see him knock on a door, and the woman who answers is very surprised to see him, and we may or may not recognize her as the nurse who once took care of Ernest.
Nice.
Way back when, like a year ago almost.
Okay, give me a second. Hang on.
Yeah.
And her name is
Anya. I decree.
Oh, was it?
It's
Okay.
not yet. It's not Vilma.
It's not Vilma?
It's not Vilma.
Vilma's like 7 foot tall with broad shoulders and a mustache.
Just Ernest's type, no. So.
No, okay, so Vilma is the woman that runs the boarding house that Anya...
Vilma answers the door, and he's like, "Oh no, not for you." She assumes it's for him, and he's like, "No, it's Anya."
It's just the woman Ernest wants him to carry him away.
Yes. And I don't think we actually hear any talking. I think we just see like a surprised look.
Music swells.
Yeah, music swells.
Her pupils dilate and her eyes get real big.
Yes, exactly.
Nice.
I think we see a short scene of them like on a nearby hilltop having said picnic that same day. And then we cut to a grim-faced Ernest looking upon Jefferson Marwick as
all right, well, one second. I want mechanical backup on that date.
Okay. Sure.
Roll your seduction, I guess.
I do. I'm learning seduction for this very purpose. I don't know how else. I don't know if dating is seduction. Let me look up the definition of seduction because it seems like it's a very different thing.
Could be etiquette.
Well, I mean, if it's the first date, probably not. I mean, you could just go with like a persuade.
So this is not the first date. That's the thing. This is the first date we've seen on camera, but I think that he kept in contact with her while he was recovering, and while the last time he was in Bryansk, I think is when they went on their first date during the couple days before he left.
The extraction of information or the persuasion of action from a subject through the manipulation of sexual desire and intention.
That sounds more...
This does not necessarily entail sexual intercourse.
Yes. Seduction seems more sinister, and...
Yeah. There are motives behind the seduction other than I like you.
Yes. So I don't think it's seduction. But yeah.
Wait,
so
Ernest is really in love? Wow.
I don't know, actually. I, as a player, do not know if Ernest is, like, what he would call in love. But he is new to the entire concept of romance.
Could it be a will stat test? Not chest, test? Because that's like where a lot of the social stuff is.
Yeah. We could just call it a will test. You don't have to double the ob or anything. It's just a stat test.
What would the...
Well, let's do it graduated, and the more successes you get, the better the date went.
Okay.
Is it dating
But it's not a
wise?
test anymore.
That's a pretty
I have a
decent date.
6, and I think I will use a 6. Okay.
All right. Well, it didn't go poorly.
It went decently.
Yes, she wants to see you again.
Quick date while I'm visiting. Might as well surprise her. It's just like the army guy comes back from the war for a surprising visit. So yeah.
All right. I just wanted, so in future when we see Anya again, we can gauge how this went, and going forward, we know.
Yeah. Things are going smoothly. It's not fireworks yet, but it's not crashing. Really cool.
Her reaction is better than tepid.
Yes. I think that, so we see now, sort of a wind is blowing as Ernest is facing down Jefferson Marwick. We've seen sort of the, not lack, but reduction in his loyalty to Edwin, which while he still has it, it's more, there's a big question mark around it if that'll continue. So that's not as much of a driving force for him as making peace for Anya. It's sort of this thing that he is into.
Do you guys want to take a short break before we get into the fight?
And with that, we'll take a break.
Yeah.
Both of them draw their weapons.
Right, that's good, because OBS crashed. Good job, OBS.
It's got good timing, I'll give it that.
Well, it actually crashed like half an hour ago.
Keyboard and,
I've learned how to keep OBS running after it crashed, but I can't control OBS. So...
I figured out a way I would like that Ernest